I'm Rob Marsden, Head of Digital at Red Stag Media, and today I am doing the part 2 of how to plan your advertising spend, which Ben, my colleague, did part 1 of last week. So Ben talked about how you should think beyond print advertising. So in agriculture, he made the point, a very valid point, that actually it's still well read, and print advertising, we believe, should be part of the mix. But it's part of a mix. It's not the be all and end all. So he took you through some ideas in terms of other options available, more from an offline perspective, on what that mix should look like when you are planning your advertising spend. And today I wanted to focus more on the digital side of things. So Ben painted me last week as our digital wizard. I think he's actually made me look like Homer Simpson with a wizard's hat on, but I'll take it, it's fine. And I'll go with that title as digital wizard. So I'm going to talk about 4 key things here that, you know, there are other options when it comes to digital advertising, but these are the 4 main ones that I believe you should be considering. And I'm going to go through the sort of merits of each of those. So the first one is, I've put Google here, but it's paid search. Now, that might be Google, that might be Bing ads. It might be another search engine, but in the main, in the UK, with Google's market share as it is, Google is the main search engine that is talked about when we're talking about it in the context of SEO or paid search. On the point of SEO, a lot of my videos that I've done in this series have been on SEO, and I haven't really covered paid search. So I wanted to cover this because it's a very important channel to leverage when you are planning out an advertising spend. So why paid search? Well, in terms of being able to target a customer that's very qualified, it's one of the highest performing channels. You know, if someone's searching for your particular product or category of product, or even competitors, that's a bit of a grey area when it comes to paid search, but you know, people do it. The main reason that you should look at it is because it's so targeted. So I've mentioned keyword research before. In the last video in the series that I did, I talked about keyword research in an SEO perspective, but it's equally as important in a paid search perspective. The important thing to say about paid search is that you've got to know what you're doing. There is the risk of spending a lot of money and not getting a lot of results off the back of it if you don't know how to manage an account properly, a Google Ads account, for example. So I would recommend that if you don't have experience of it, you speak to an agency or a consultant that knows exactly what they're doing with it. But when it goes right, paid search can be a really powerful traffic driving medium that is very trackable right from the click stage right through to the conversion. So you can bid at keyword level what you want to pay for individual clicks based on the conversion rate of that keyword. That in itself is a very powerful thing to do. But again, there is the risk of spending a lot of money and not getting a lot of results. There are certain things you need in place before you embark on a paid search campaign. Good analytics tracking is the main thing. But when you're setting up your campaigns, make sure that you're using the Google Ads features when it comes to conversion tracking. That's really important so that you can measure that ROI. So the next one is email. So in agriculture, there are, you know, a lot of good publications specific to various sort of corners of the industry that have got a very good engaged audience that are sat on email marketing databases that you can pay to appear in. An example of this might be Farmers Guardian or Farmers Weekly. They've both got email lists, and they can be leveraged to get in front of a good audience with your message at the right time. Now again, the important thing for all of this is tracking. It's worth spending some time speaking with the publications to find out exactly how big those lists are, and more importantly, what the engagement metrics are. So you need to know the open rate and you need to know the click-through rate as well. Because if you have everything set up on your side. If you've got Google Analytics tracking, you know your conversion rate on site. You know if you're putting them through a certain sort of funnel sequence, for example, you know what all the kind of drop-off rates are running up to that point. You can estimate with some degree of certainty if you drive X amount of clicks to your site from an email campaign, what your resulting sales should be, an ROI off the back of it. Now, it might not all be measurable all the way through because it might be a B2B lead generation campaign, but at least you should know how many inquiries you're likely to get from that. If you're an e-commerce website and you're selling product, again, you should know your average order value and you should know your conversion rate. And from that, you can work out how profitable email campaigns are likely to be. The next one is paid social. So I've drawn the Facebook logo here, but you know there are various different social media channels you can advertise on, including Instagram, which you do through Facebook ads, but there are also things like Twitter as well that has got a good farming, engaged farming audience on that, and some interesting targeting options from a paid social perspective. But paid social is a great opportunity to deliver more than just text ads, which you would do with paid search, for example. So it might be that you're promoting a video or a video teaser, for example. It might be an image-led campaign. It could be any sort of different formats in terms of a creative, but you can be very specific about the audiences that you're targeting. You can also retarget through these as well. So if you're driving traffic to your website through paid search, for example, you might find that that's quite a high cost per click. You know, you might be paying, you know, £4 or £5 cost per click, for example. It varies massively depending on the keyword and the competition, etc. But let's just use that as an example. If you send traffic through to your site and you've got the Facebook pixel on your site, you are then able to retarget those people that have clicked through from Google search on Facebook as they're browsing around Facebook. That might be follow-up messaging, for example. Now, it's out of sort of scope of this video, but there is a whole question about cookies and retargeted in the future because we're moving away from a cookie world. So actually it does become a little bit more complex, and it's not quite to the level that it was, but it's still worth having the Facebook pixel on your site and collecting those audiences over time that you might be able to leverage in the future. So paid social should be part of your campaign. You can build some great audiences. Again, over time, you can't get as granular as you once could on the likes of Facebook because of sort of privacy concerns, etc. But you can still build very relevant farming audiences on Facebook that you can target with your messaging. And the last one that I wanted to cover today is display advertising. So display advertising, historically known not really as a direct response kind of thing, more a brand awareness play. Click-through rates can be quite low, but there are some interesting options. The first one is finding publications that are very, very relevant to your audience. So one example in agriculture is Potato Review, for example. If you have a product or a service that are specific to potato growers or the potato supply chain, Potato Review, very well read by people in that particular niche within agriculture. They offer display advertising on the website. That's the type of thing you might want to look at. Again, you need to speak with them and any other publication that you might identify about what their click-through rates are, etc., to work out what you think your ROI is going to be. But there are niche publications like that that are well worth thinking about, rather than running a display ad on the Times or something where it's just, you know, you're just not going to get those relevant impressions. Going, I suppose, one level above those really niche publications, you do have your national sort of agriculture publications in the UK like Farmers Guardian, Farmers Weekly, and you can work with those to buy display advertising placements as well. You can also, through the Google Display Network, have your display banners on different websites that are part of that network where you might be able to buy some space on relevant publications. But again, you can use the kind of functionality in that platform to find relevant publications. Another one that's really interesting is buying based on different things other than just impressions. So, for example, the farming forum have a keyword feature where you can show display ads on particular topics that are being covered in the threads. So if you want to show an ad about fertilizer, for example, you can specify a certain number of keywords that are relevant, like trigger keywords, if you like, to show these ads. So when people are discussing certain type of fertilizers or whatever, you can show your ads to those people in those threads. So it means that you find a very relevant audience and you're buying display impressions, but you're buying it based on a keyword and on a site that's very relevant to what you do and what you offer. So, like I say, these are the 4 main ones that I would be thinking about from a digital perspective when planning out an advertising spend. There are a whole host of options out there, but I would say that from a digital perspective, these are the bread and butter ones that you should be thinking about. So yeah, if you've got any questions on any of these, or you'd like to discuss your advertising spend and you want some help planning it out online and offline, get in touch and we'll have a chat about what you need. So until next time, take care.